Okay, that's good to go. I did not update our little page thing.
Our page thing.
Yes, of all the possible topics that we could talk
I did.
about on
I
that
did.
stuff.
And then
So
I have another one I forgot to write down.
everything you're going to tell me or say to me is going to be a complete surprise.
Hot dang!
I'm winging it today because I am, as you can see, I'm somewhere new.
Yeah.
I moved, and this is going to be my third night at the new house.
Aw.
Which is fantastic. I have my own, I guess not really my own, but this room that I'm in is going to be the podcast studio slash
Ooh.
guest room. There's a futon right next to me. I'm also surrounded by like photography equipment and stuff like that. So it's a small space. But my room is on the opposite side of that wall.
Okay.
But yeah, so new studio space. We're still
Exciting.
unpacking and doing all that stuff. Yeah, it's exciting. Uh, I was gonna say something, and my mind just went completely blank. It's gonna be that episode.
Yeah,
Maybe
we're
not
all
as
kind of
bad as last week when I
scatterbrained.
was like having caffeine with girls. Um, but I yeah, it's just it's that like I'm just exhausted now.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. It should be good. Ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 36 of the Whatnauts Captain's Log. My name is Kyle Springer, and I am joined this week. You've been on this show for the past like 2 months straight now.
Not as always, but as mostly.
Yes.
It's me. Melissa's back, friends.
Exactly. So I am always glad to sit down and hang out with you on Friday evenings like we do. You guys can be watching live on twitch.tv/the Whatnauts or thewhatnauts.com/live streams. That's our website. You can get all the extra information and all that stuff.
We make it easy for
thewhatnauts.com.
you.
Yeah. Melissa,
Yes.
what are you up to?
It's been a weird week because some of the software we rely on at the office has been down. So work has been stressful. And then
So you
today
didn't have to do anything. You could just sit there.
We just had to do different things that were also helpful, but like, no, we need to get into the software. Like, we need to get in there and we need to do that stuff. And like, the page isn't working. And we just have to keep trying it. And golly, it's been a weird week. It's been a weird, stressful week. And then today I wasn't feeling well and I just worked from home. So I'm glad you're here and I have like another person to talk to, even if it's over a computer screen.
All over the computer screen, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sam is in the chat. Hello there.
Hi, Sam.
Yeah.
Hello, my friend.
As always. That's good. Yeah. I'm feeling a little bit rushed today for multiple reasons. Since I moved, I now have to take the bus to work. Thankfully, I get to ride for free because I'm an employee of the university here. And they're just like, y'all get free bus passes.
That's nice.
I was like, sweet, perfect timing. But I got on the bus this afternoon after work, and the bus was really late. I was standing outside in the cold for a long time. And then I got off at what I thought was my stop, and it was the stop before it. So technically it works, but the other one would have been a little bit closer, and it was like 7:20, and we were going to be on here at 8, and I was just like, I got to walk for like 15-20 minutes now, and then I have to get home, and my roommates are all working, so I have to walk their dogs, and then one of them is scared to go down the stairs. Like, he hasn't figured... I mean, his back legs aren't all that great. He looks like he's skipped leg day every day. But yeah, for some reason he doesn't like going the stairs. He didn't like it at our old house, but he just absolutely refuses at this house. So I was like, yeah, I can't get him down the stairs.
Oh.
So, and he's had a very bad past and doesn't like people, so I'm not gonna like touch him to lift him up or anything like that in fear of my life. So but yeah, and then it's like, okay, now I gotta get here and relax and podcast.
Yeah.
It's great. Everything's fine.
It's fine. It's okay.
Yeah. Sam, I would have Melissa open up a copy of the chat, but I think her computer is an old fogey and ancient, and if we made it do one more thing, it might explode.
I'm scared for its life, Sam. You know the old girl.
I mean, technically you could use it on your phone, and I don't know if you have
internet.
unlimited data or not. That's sometimes what I do when
I got a decent amount of data.
I'm not sure how much the stream would be, but yeah, there you go.
Okay, let me get my Twitch app up.
We are holding this podcast together with duct tape and bad computers, because we only stream.
I didn't ask for this. You weren't invited to speak. Okay.
Well, I'm sorry, I'll leave then.
No, okay. Well, I got it up on my phone, and so you can see what Sam is saying.
Yes, and connects pieces. Wow, I haven't thought about connects in forever. Were you a Lego kid, Melissa? Did you have Legos or connects or Playmobiles?
We did have those. Those were mostly my brother's things. I was a weird kid and like grew out of toys very quickly. Like I think by the time I was like 7, it's like I just want books, please, and like arts and crafts kits. Okay. And like I think I had like a handful of Barbies left, but yeah, I had the Legos, but I was not a Lego child.
Okay. I loved Legos. Before that, apparently my parents thought I liked Playmobiles, and it was just one of those things, well, this is the toys that I have, so I guess I'll use them. But they bought me a lot of these like Playmobile toys, which they weren't Legos, but they were a little bit bigger.
Yeah,
about like 2 or 3 inches tall, like characters, and you could get like Fort Knox, you know, and it'd be some little setup, and it has like a bank vault and all of that stuff. But apparently, when I don't even remember how old I was really small. My dad brought me into his work for Bring Your Kid to Work Day. And I guess I had set up all my Playmobiles on like a piece of foam core or something, some kind of like thicker poster board thing that I could walk around. And that's just what I did all day at the office, was just play with my Playmobiles. And anytime someone walked around, I was like, hey, you. This guy is the Lone Ranger. Hey, you, this guy is Tonto. Hey, you, this guy is... And I explained the entire thing. Every single time.
There's a whole story to tell. That's fun.
Yeah. I liked Legos, though. I remember... my obsession was, once I built the actual set, I would take it apart, and then I would build, like... cool looking spaceships and engines with them. Be like, this is a part that would power a spaceship. Yeah.
I think I would have been more into Legos if I was one of those kids that cared about vehicles, because I never was. I think I had a handful of Hot Wheels, but if I didn't also have 2 brothers, I would have had no Hot Wheels.
Yeah. I had a bunch of Hot Wheels, but Sam mentioned Connects in the chat. And I think I had one set, and I was like, hell no, no more of these.
We also had one set of Connects, and I think it was because we had a cousin that really liked them, and mom got him a box of Connects for Christmas, and we just like never ended up getting over there to give these to him. And it was like March, and she's like, you kids can just play
I,
with them.
I feel like Legos fit both the like toy aspect as well as the like, hey, I kind of want to be an architect slash maybe tinker with things and take things apart, build stuff. But then the Connects were for like the engineers, because they always had the like working pieces and motors and all of that stuff. And I was like, what in the world is going on? I don't
you need to
understand any of
understand
this.
physics to work a Connects. Like Lego's a lot more artistic.
Yeah.
So,
Sam says that was a callback to a web series Mel may remember. Phil from Bonus Stage once mentioned that he was held together by glue and Connects pieces.
I remember Bonus Stage as a general concept, but I do not remember singular lines from it anymore.
What is Bonus Stage?
Jeepers. It was a lot of video game in jokes, and it was just sort of like a
Okay.
story about like some people hanging out in a neighborhood. I have not watched this thing since I was 15 years old. I remember like, I'm getting visual flashes of it and nothing else.
My life is flashing before my eyes.
And this was the thing Sam and I really liked when we were young teens, but like my brain compressed all those memories, and like I no longer have the specific details anymore. It's like, well, you can have room for one webtoon, and I picked Homestar Runner, which I believe is the correct choice.
Marshmallows. Marzipan. Did I tell you that I got one of the Strong Bad emails on there?
Yes.
I was in like 6th grade. That was crazy. Good times. Good times.
So, speaking of memories from the past and things we made when we were kids, lately I've been doing a bunch of cleaning because it's winter and the weather's not good outside and I'm stuck inside and I just need a thing to do. And I found buried in an old box a story I wrote when I was 7 years old.
Oh, amazing.
Would you like to hear this story?
Yes, story time with Melissa.
Okay. This is called A Magician. Once there was a boy. He lived with his mom and dad. They lived in New York. The little boy liked to go to magic shows and shops, but when he couldn't, he watched them at home. One day, his mom and dad took him to see his favorite magician. After the show, his mom took him backstage to see him. "Hi," said the boy. "Did you know I have a magic school?" said the magician. "No," said the boy. "Would you like to go?" said the magician. "Yes," said the boy. "Just one more thing," said the boy. "What's that?" asked the magician. "Is there snacks?" said the boy. "No," said the magician.
Worst school ever.
"But there's lunch."
Oh, saved.
"That is good enough for me," said the boy. So his mom filled out the forms. 7-year-old
Chapter 13, registration forms.
7-year-old me was real concerned with like the paperwork associated with this. So his mom filled out the forms and his dad came back with a magic kit to take to school. He would start Monday. On Monday, they worked on the rules. Pretty basic. On Tuesday, they worked on pulling a rabbit out of a hat, but it's spelled Reabbit.
Reabbit?
Yeah. On Wednesday, they worked on the magic links. On Thursday, they worked on the scarves.
Wait, magic links? Like chain links or like links the animal?
I mean, I guess that would be the natural progression after a rabbit, but no, it's like the circles, and you hit the circles together.
Oh,
and
yeah,
there are
yeah.
a pair of them.
So like
And then after all of this, Friday they worked on card tricks. So like rabbit out of a hat day 1, Friday is card tricks. On the weekends, the boy didn't have classes, but he practiced after dinner. And the schedule went on and on. After 3 years, the boy was ready for the hard tricks. After
Finally, senior year, getting to the good stuff.
After 15 years, the boy was done. He was ready for shows. As he grew up, he got better and better. He was a real magician now. The end.
Yes. What a great story.
It's so fantastical and so mundane at the same time. And like, this isn't anything I remember being
It's a
into.
magic story with no magic in it.
It's just like pedantic dialogue and paperwork, and day one they worked on the rules.
Okay, here's the rules. That's great. Actually, that reminds me. This is about to get real weird.
Okay, go
Magic has kind of been in the news lately in the video game world. I'm not going to explain this correctly, so if you're interested in the story that I'm kind of bringing up, you guys can go listen to whatever video game podcasts, and they will explain it much better than I will. Long story short, I believe it's Randy Pitchford, who I think is the CEO of Gearbox Studios, which made the Borderlands games. He's being sued because he left a USB that had both company secrets and supposedly underage porn on it, and he left it at a restaurant, a medieval times restaurant.
What?
Someone found it, recognized what game it was from, sent it back to the studio, and yeah, so there's a whole bunch of stuff. Apparently the porn was barely legal porn, so it's like, okay, she's actually of age, but she looks, younger.
Seedy but unpunishable. Okay.
Yeah, but so yeah, I mean, this is on there, and that's one thing, right? But apparently one of the videos on there was of a cam girl squirting on there.
This has something to do with magic tricks, correct?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Here's where that comes in.
Okay.
So basically, when he got caught with this thing, he went on to a podcast to explain it. Now, Randy Pitchford is it's very well documented that he is into magic. He likes magicians. All of that stuff. So this podcast that he went on was a magician's podcast, and he explained it away by saying, I want to understand how this goddamn magic trick works. Where does she hide all that liquid? And it's just...
I've never been rendered so speechless in my life.
This is... like... Look, dude, it's okay. People watch porn. Just say, yeah, there was porn, and then move on. Don't go onto a magician's podcast and be like, that was a magic trick. I don't understand it. that was some recent news that it's just absolutely ridiculous. And it's just like this. It just gets worse and worse. I don't understand.
That's bananas.
Magic. But yeah. Anyways, moving on from magic.
I'm gonna be thinking about this for the next 3 weeks, approximately.
It's a wild story. There's more to it, but like just that one aspect in particular is just what the fuck?
I love that medieval times is the smallest part of this story.
Yeah, Just at medieval times, hanging out.
Involved with this.
Yeah. Whatever.
If there was a combination medieval times magic show, burlesque show, then
Yeah.
buy me a season pass.
That'd be fun.
I
But I
picked just
mean,
2 out of the 3 of those. It doesn't have to be all 3.
but then on like, why are you keeping your personal stash with your work stash? You know what I mean? It's just whatever.
Hmm.
People are dumb.
You.
People are so dumb. Crazy stuff. Oy. What else has been going on with you? You watching any TV shows? You've been yelling at people at work? What's been going on in the life of Melissa?
You know me. I'm trying to solve all the yelling at work. We're not yelling at each other. We are a tightly knit family at work. It's just us getting frustrated about other things. I watched 2 whole animes this week.
2 whole animes.
My roommate is only home like 1 night a week because she spends all her time with her boyfriend and she's got a different work schedule now. So we never catch each other. But every once in a while, when we are here at the same time, she's like, I want to show you another anime because she's apparently super into anime, which I didn't even really know until we moved in.
There you go.
Like we had been living together for months
You can
before I
get
knew she was
some
a giant Dragon Ball
recommendations.
Z fan. Yeah. So she showed me the first episode of One Punch Man,
Okay.
and this week was the first episode of Mob Psycho, which is her
I
favorite.
haven't seen Mob Psycho. I've seen season 1 of One Punch Man, and not for me.
Yeah, she was telling me that they're made by the same guy, and he really wished
Yeah.
that Mob Psycho would have been the one to take off.
It's still fairly popular. It's pretty new.
She said it. I had heard the name before, which is my test for how popular an anime is.
Yeah. Yeah, One Punch Man is insanely popular.
Mhm.
Yeah, man, I've it's been a while since I've gotten into a new anime, and I'm kind of on the hunt for one as well. I don't know what I want to do yet. I still want to read. So I'm not done. I need to go back and finish it. One of the things that I did over the holiday break was go back and continue reading 20th Century Boys. A long time ago, Paul and I did an episode of that back when the review show was still the Whatnauts, just the Whatnauts podcast. Which reminds me, I need to start putting up the retro ones, start posting those to our website, and all of that stuff. But that was like, I think of all the episodes we've done, that has been like my favorite thing. And I was just like, I need to go back and read, because we only read those like first 3 volumes. I was like, this is fantastic. And I think I have like 2 or 3 volumes left, something like that. Not much. And I love it. It's fantastic. And then I think there's a 20th or 21st Century Boys, which is like a sequel. It's a shorter one. But one of the other ones that I really wanted to go back and continue reading was Nana. And I've seen the first episode of the anime, and then I stopped, and I was like, I want to continue reading it first, and then get done with that, or I guess as much as I can with that, because I don't think it actually ended. The creator got sick and moved on to other stuff. But yeah, I liked that one a lot. So maybe Nana will be one I go watch, but that's also a little bit out of my comfort zone.
This is the one about
typically
the ghost. I mean, it's not a ghost, but it's somebody who looks like a ghost. Do you know what I'm saying? You pitched this to me once, didn't you? And it's like everybody is drawn normally, but the main character looks like they're just like a kid wearing a sheet.
Pun. Good night, Pun.
Okay. Well, then what's Nana then?
Nana is about these 2 girls, both named Nana.
Right. You also told me about this one.
Yes. And they
If you
meet.
describe an anime to me, I can tell you, yes, that is an anime I've heard about before, but like all the titles just get jumbled up like in one big like bingo ball wheel.
Yeah, yeah. I was talking to my friend this past week, and I randomly asked her, "Hey, what's your favorite like story trope of just like anything, comics, video games, movies, TV? Like if it has this type of story, like what are you just down to watch anything of?" And she responded, when there's like, I forget what she said exactly, but it was basically Nana, where she's like, there's one girl who's like edgy and really cool, and there's one who's like super girly, and they kind of fall in love. Except I don't really know if they actually fall in love in Nana. There were definitely some lesbian undertones there, but I don't know what happens since I've only read the like first 3 volumes or so. Um, but she mentioned it without saying it. I was like, that's like Nana. I know. I got kidneys. See. um, but because I was like, yeah, I think for me, my favorite one is when there's some kind of like guy who shouldn't be a dad but is a dad.
Oh, that's
Lone
a
Wolf and
good
Cub.
one. Yeah.
So I
Oh,
was
do you
like,
like it in, like,
Logan is a more recent
okay.
example. The God of War video game, the newest one. There is a manga called Lone Wolf and Cub, which I also love and is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So you like it in a dramatic sense, because I was thinking of like a
I think
comedic
it's,
sense, like the uncles on Full
yeah,
House.
no, yeah, in more of a dramatic sense.
Okay.
I
That's
just
good.
I,
That's
I I
solid.
think it's an interesting dynamic,
Mm-hmm.
or yeah, or just like when Wolverine has to be a teacher. It's like, don't go
Yeah.
on a
Yeah.
murder spree. Get stuck with Jubilee, and you have to teach her how to do this stuff. Get stuck with Kitty, and you have to like, no, bad Kitty, don't do that. This is how we defeat the bad guys. Don't do what I do. So yeah,
Those
that's
are
fun.
good.
What about you
I
though?
think, oh, the tropes that I'm a big sucker for. I love romantic comedy hijinks. I love like weddings. I love anything with weddings in a
Okay.
story. Those are my favorites. And I love any time when there's just too many characters in one place. Again, this is also all of the Full House I was raised on.
Whatever happened to predictability? Um,
Like, this is one of the reasons why I love the Venture Brothers, because that's a show that
I
just keeps
I
collecting
need to
side
get into
characters.
into that
It's
show. I've
my
seen like an episode,
favorite.
and I didn't understand it because I was too young, and I was just like, I don't get these jokes, but apparently I would love it.
I
Um,
love it. I still need to watch the most recent season. I want to rewatch. I think it was season 6, and then this might have been season 7. I want to marathon those to get all caught up. But yeah, boy, I love it because it just keeps collecting all of these side characters
mhm.
that are like really tangential to the plot. But the creators love them, so that they just keep popping up again, and like nobody leaves, and like everybody's just kind of in each other's periphery at all times.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard nothing but good things, and the more I listen, the more I'm just like, I would really love that show. I think if I just sat down and watched it all.
Yeah, it
So
starts out as a definite like Johnny Quest spoof, but if you stick to it through like the end of the first season, if you get to the garage sale episode, I think that might be what sells you on
what's
it.
what's the best thing you've ever bought at a garage sale?
Oh, dang. Oh, I don't. Do you want me to literally go grab it? Do you
Uh,
care about seeing it, or do you want me to just describe it to you?
Bring it next week or
Okay,
whenever
okay.
you're on. Describe it to me now,
It is
Wait,
a
wait, wait. Before you say, let me ask you this: how big is it?
no, it can fit in the webcam screen.
Okay, I'm gonna take a guess as to what I think it is.
Ah,
It is some kind of cooking utensil.
no, it is roughly food and drink related.
Okay. Because I was gonna guess some kind of like retro blender or something. I don't I don't know.
It is, I think I might have mentioned this a couple weeks ago. It is a big laminated spiral bound cocktail menu taken from some Las Vegas nightclub that was just at this garage sale. And I don't know how they have it. I guess they stole it as a souvenir and then eventually were like, we don't need this. We just need the memories, I guess. So for like a quarter, absolutely, yes, I am taking home this huge laminated menu for like the Voodoo Cafe and all of their weird New Orleans themed like big fruity drinks.
I have
And it's on my
two
coffee
similar
table
stories.
right now. Like it is my coffee table book. I own
Amazing.
real ones, but that's the one I want to put on display.
So I have two similar stories.
Uh-huh.
Um, I was in high school. This was my senior year, and I was walking around the like local shopping center thing, working on a photography assignment.
Mm-hmm.
And I was taking pictures of all sorts of random things. So I was wandering into alleys and all sorts of spots I probably shouldn't have been in. Um, and I go behind some of these stores into their like loading bay trash area, and I see a menu for a restaurant. And this is not like a little takeout menu that you can get at like a Chinese food shop.
Mm-hmm.
This is the menu that they hang on the wall behind the counter, and it was for pot belly sandwiches. I don't know if they
Wow.
have those
Yes,
where
yes,
you
they
are.
have those here.
Yeah, I had an entire menu from pot bellies, and I called my dad. I was like, Dad, come pick me up right now. Bring the truck. And so I took this giant menu home with me, and I'm like, I'm hanging it up on my wall, and that's what I
Yes.
did. And then I took it with me to college, and it was up in my first apartment. And I just had the menu there.
Love this. We've done the same thing with old Toys R Us
Uh-huh.
ads. So my brother used to work at Toys R Us when Toys R Us existed. Rest in peace up there.
Yeah. Pour one out for Toys R Us.
But there would be this huge just like cardboard like signage that they would hang up in the store, and then once like that display was done they didn't need the signs anymore and he would bring them home to us. And so he brought in this like, oh, it was maybe like 6 feet by like 8 or 9 feet, this huge picture of just Hulk and Iron Man, and it said like Marvel superheroes or the Avengers or something.
Yeah.
And we got our parents to let us hang it like over the couch in the living room. So as
Yes.
soon as you walked in, like there's Hulk and Iron
Marvel
Man.
heroes.
And then there was another sign like that that was a much smaller and it had like a lot more heroes in it. Like there's Rocket Raccoon and Black
Yeah.
Widow and Spider-Man and all these people. And that I took with me to my first apartment and that was hanging in my kitchen. And it was
Nice.
so big it had to go like across a corner.
That's
we knew
amazing.
we knew other people that worked at Toys R Us too, and so there were a couple houses in North County and the neighborhood we grew up in that just had like big weird Toys R Us signage hanging up in them.
That's fantastic.
I
Um,
love purposed like retail stuff used as home decoration.
it's fantastic. We actually set up our little like alcohol cabinet here at the house. We had this big like dining room drawer set. I don't know what to call it exactly. It looks
Yeah,
like a dresser,
you know, like
but
a
it's for the
credenza or
dining room,
something,
something like
a
that.
buffet table.
That's what my roommate called it, but it's not a buffet. There's not all you can eat food there.
It's a table
What a
that part of
lie.
a buffet would go on, not
Yeah.
like
No, but
a Old Town buffet, but like a grandma's Thanksgiving kind of buffet.
yeah, so we have that, but we also have some sign. I don't know where they found it, but we have all our alcohol and shot glasses and stuff like that. And then this sign, which just looks like a sign that some local coffee shop would put out and they can write on
Yeah.
with markers and stuff like that. So we're like, what if we put our alcohol here and then like every month or so put a new like drink recipe on there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks cool. And it does. It looks fantastic. But the second story that I was going to tell you about, because you said your coffee table, but they stole it. Is that
I
what I
can
heard you
only
say?
presume because it doesn't look like it's like a souvenir or anything like that. It's straight off the table, like these are the drinks we have, this is how much they cost. Look
Okay,
at the back for our other locations.
gotcha.
So they probably stole it. And
Um,
now it's mine.
so I was not here for this happening.
Mm-hmm.
One guy wasn't really my roommate. He was at our house a lot. He went to the same church that I used to go to. So he
Mm-hmm.
just hung out with me. But apparently, before he started going to that church that I used to go to, he got really drunk one night at this restaurant out with his friends. It's like a restaurant bar kind of thing here in downtown Richmond. And just on a dare decided to steal their gumball machine.
That's a big one.
Yeah, and it actually was a big one too. It's not just one of those like small ones you put the thing in and turn it.
Yeah.
It was the big one that has the like giant fishbowl and it goes
And, like,
all the way
spiral,
down,
yeah,
spirals
like the
down. Yeah.
blockbuster ones.
And that thing, they had to have like 3 people carry it out, but they were like, okay, we're gonna go make a distraction that way, and they just walked out with it. And I was always like, that's amazing. Why can't I
Wow.
ever be there when things like that happen? Like I just want to see something like that happens. Which reminds me, one of my professors in college, he was my drawing teacher
Uh-huh.
in my freshman year. He was talking about his birthday and how, or no, was it his birthday or was it graduation? I think it was graduation one year, and his students decided to get him like a going away gift. I guess he was not going away, but they were. And they knew that he really likes mustard. And at our school cafeteria, they have those like giant mustard, like industrial size mustard dispensers. And same kind of thing. They were like, guys, what if we steal the mustard dispenser from Schaefer and give that to him? And that's what they did. And I was just like, that's amazing. I would 100% be down to do something like that. Just like, let's steal something for good.
Now, I have 2 return stories. This is just going to be like a back and forth volleyball match between us.
Okay.
Would you like to hear about mustard or about stolen things? Unfortunately, I don't have them together.
Let's do the mustard, because that's a good segue. So we stole the mustard, now we're returning the mustard.
My dad and his sister. This started a couple years ago, and I don't know how it started, but every Christmas they would give each other mustard-themed gifts. Maybe one year one of them gave the other like one of those little gift basket sets. It's like cheese and sausage and condiments and
They
things
really
like that.
liked
I don't know.
the mustard that was in there.
Yeah, I guess so. Because back and forth every year, like, oh, what kind of weird exotic mustard can I give you? And then they're giving each other like mustard Christmas ornaments. And my dad made a wreath. He took just like a, kind of like an evergreen wreath from like Michael's, and he hot glued mustard packets all over it. And it's got like a little cardinal bird in it. And he gave it like mustard packet wings. And that was her gift. and I have not seen it displayed in her home, but she
I
probably still
can
has it.
assume why.
Not even when we come around. Come on.
Yeah. See, they still
So,
own it.
yeah, I think it just like ran its course. Like he made the mustard wreath, and they're like, "Well, nobody's topping that, so I guess we're done with mustard
There's
now."
always someone though at like white elephant gift exchanges that does the like, it's a cardboard cutout of me. And it's just like, no one wants that, dude. No one. You're funny. We get it. But this guy also bought an iPod, you know.
What a bonkers white elephant exchange.
Yeah, right.
We have a white elephant exchange at my office every Christmas, and it's always like and it's one of those rob your neighbor gift war sort of things.
Yeah.
And it always breaks down to a fight for booze and lotto tickets. And I'm like, no thanks, I will just take my $10 Starbucks gift card and sit down quietly.
Yeah.
The office has such a big age range. Like my department's fairly close, but like the overall office, we have people that are like in their 60s.
Uh-huh.
And so that's the only thing that keeps me from bringing like a weird gag gift. Like it's a Blu-ray of Space Jam.
I'll take that and sit down quietly while no one else takes that from me. Thank you very much.
Everybody like under the age of 35 would take it, but I can't risk those odds. What if like, some 62-year-old woman gets it and she's like, "Oh, it's the Bugs Bunny and some basketball star." Okay. What's a Blu-ray?
They would know Michael Jordan. Crazy. If only Looney Tunes was owned by Disney, that would be in Kingdom Hearts. Like Space Jam was the original Kingdom Hearts.
It was. Well, I believe it goes like this. Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Yes, you mentioned
Space
that.
Jam, Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, I have a whole theory about this.
A couple weeks ago. Then Space Jam, and then Disney and Final Fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Kabam. I'm so stoked for that game. Only a couple more days, and it's getting good reviews.
Awesome.
Well, it's, I don't know. It's one of those things you kind of have to, I feel like you kind of have to take with a grain of salt, because it's not only the third numbered game, but there's like 100 other Kingdom Hearts games, and you have to have played those to kind of understand the story.
Yeah.
So the ones playing this and reviewing it are the ones that we know like the game.
But they're in the same mindset as you.
Yes, but well, I mean, yeah, it's their job to subjectively review these games. That's also one of those things. So there's so many people out there. I'm going on a weird tangent.
Okay, later I'll tell
now.
you about stolen objects.
That reviews should be like, some people are of the mind that reviews should be objective, which all the review sites out there like IGN and GameSpot and all of that stuff say no. It's the exact opposite of that. Like, they are subjective to what that person thought. Yeah, they should cover everything if that makes it objective rather than like focusing on one aspect, right? You know? But I don't know. Weird thing. I guess I had no point with that, except that I'm excited for Kingdom Hearts.
No, I like a subjective review, even if it's like I want to find something from somebody who's in my same boat, or like I want to know what's in other people's boats, I guess.
Yeah, which is, I mean, like what we do with the review show, like if our, which oddly enough, I don't like saying what we do is reviews.
Yeah.
But long story short, like if I just say it's the review show, people kind of understand what we do, and they talk about things. They're like, they kind of review things there. But yeah, that's the thing. Like, I talk about how I feel about the book, what I thought worked, what I thought didn't work, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe you're like, Kyle, you're full of bullshit. That thing that you said didn't work actually does work. Here's why, bitch. Um, those are your exact words. Um, but yeah, there's this like debate there of like, hey, here's what I yeah, like here's what I thought. Here's what worked for me. Here's what didn't work. And I like that back and forth, that discussion.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that helps reviews out a lot more, or helps critiques out a lot more.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hash it through. Hash it through.
There you go. Anyways, instead of me going on a bunch of tangents, what was your second story that you wanted to?
Just that I grew up with some notable stolen objects in my home. My parents did not steal
Such
them.
criminals.
No, my parents didn't steal them. I feel like my parents' neighbors stole them. And then, like, the neighbors moved away or whatever, and they were just like, hey, do you guys want these? And they're like, oh, you stole it years ago.
If anyone asks, you bought it.
Like, these are things that they know that people they knew stole them, but somehow my parents just got secondhand. And it was a big shopping cart, like a big old metal shopping cart. And that was in our basement. And that's what we like piled the laundry in. And we would like roll the laundry around from like the chute to the washer.
Huh.
And then in our backyard, we had a no parking at any time sign from
Okay.
Laclede's Landing, which is the area of St. Louis, like right at the riverfront, like right by the
Sure.
arch. It's like this historical area, like it's all cobblestone streets, and it's a lot of like beautiful old buildings, and like it's kind of a party area. There's like bars and clubs and like a casino and also a magic shop and a wax museum and an old spaghetti factory. Lots of unusual stuff down at Laclede's Landing. But it's this historical area. So it has this big old like wrought iron pole and this big like metal sign. And it's just like a rectangle. It has like, little detail work and curves and things on it. And it says in this beautiful script, no parking at any time. And somebody dad knows just pulled that thing out of the dang ground and took it home with him. And then when he didn't want it anymore, somehow it got planted in our backyard.
That's funny. Melissa froze on me for a sec there. Okay, you're back. There we go.
I am. Didn't go anywhere.
Have you ever come into possession of stuff? Not, I mean, it would somehow have to be hand-me-down, I think. But just like, you have this object or this thing, but you don't know how you got it?
Oh, I'm certain I have. I've been having that problem in my kitchen right now. Like, there's
Like,
so
where
much
did this
stuff.
spatula come from? I didn't
Yeah,
buy
like,
this.
is this my roommate's or have I had this the whole time and I've never like looked at it until today?
But then, like taking it one step further, like, what if that's not your roommate's either? And it's just like, where the fuck did this come from?
It just appeared. It's just ours now.
So I told a story on an episode of the Captain's Log a while back, in which I was mailed a copy of The Great Gatsby.
Yes, I heard this.
And I don't know who sent it to me. And it was the copy that I had in high school. And like, I recognized the notes that were in the book and all of that stuff. I looked up the return address. There was nothing there. Yeah, it was strange. So that's one of them. I also ended up with a copy of Left 4 Dead, which is a video game.
Yes.
I don't know how I got that game. I've never bought the game. I just, one day it was in my Xbox, and it didn't belong to any of my other roommates, and it was just there, like, no case. It was only the disc.
Did you lose another game like it morphed into Left 4 Dead?
I've lost some games, but yeah, not to that extent. I don't know, weird stuff. I also have a guitar that I know was one of my former roommates. I don't know which one. It was one of theirs. And then when we were moving, I was thinking about throwing it out because I don't play guitar. I played bass guitar for like a year and a half, but that didn't go so well.
This is because you were trying to impress a girl, correct?
Yes and no.
Okay.
So my best friend at the time also played bass guitar, which is really, well, honey, because he was also the one that got me into comics. So I ended up doing a lot of the same things he did. He
Aw.
also went to the same college that I ended up going to. But when I picked up bass guitar, the girl I liked, her father also played bass guitar and was a really good, like, just overall musician. But his main thing was bass. And so, yeah, it was an excuse to go over to her house and kind of hang out with her. Except I was hanging out with her dad. So that was weird. But at least he liked me, It's not like, hey, stay away from my daughter,
You're here for guitars only.
Yeah.
Keep those fingers on the strings.
Yeah. Hands on the bass, not the ass. Keep the B in there, okay? But no, so yeah, I have this guitar and I'm just like, I don't know what to do with this. It's not mine.
Oh no, if you can't track it down, pawn it, I guess.
We're
That's
thinking
such a
about
big
using it for
object to be
decoration.
responsible for an entire guitar.
Yeah. I also kind of picked up bass guitar because I wanted to play the drums, but the drums were too expensive.
Uh-huh.
I was just like, fuck it, bass guitar. Here we
It's
go.
like Drums Junior.
And I took 1 year of band in elementary school, and I did percussion, and they made you like learn the bells and stuff like that. And I was just like, no thanks. I don't like this.
Bell choir. So I encountered a mystery myself this week.
Mystery.
I sent you a message about this.
Oh, yeah.
My Roku, the YouTube app, was playing YouTube videos at like half size, smushed up into a corner, and the rest of the screen was black.
That's so weird.
And everything else was the same. Every other thing that would play on my Roku was full screen. Every menu was full screen.
So,
Netflix videos were full screen. It was only YouTube videos that were
sent
small.
me this, and
yes.
I wasn't able to see it right away, but I
sent it at midnight.
Well, I saw the notification, and then I think I was still helping like pack up or something. I don't know. But I didn't get to actually read the full thing until later on. So when you sent me that first one, and I forget what the first thing you said was, but it was something I was like, is she watching our own show on YouTube? And it's the whole thing is small? It's because I was like, because we only record at 720 because my computer can't handle anything higher than that. Because I also have a crappy Mac.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, I'm so confused. I have no. And you were like, am I contagious? Who's gonna get big next?
Yeah, like, my YouTube videos. Like, it caught my small disease, and I'm like, well, if it got small, is it gonna get big again, like I sometimes do?
Thankfully, it hasn't happened yet this episode, knock on wood. So yeah. Who knows? I have no idea. That was my first thought. I was like, does she know that we only record at, and we stream and record at 720 as our highest resolution?
And I think that's ultimately what my Roku's problem ended up being, because I spent so much time scouring the internet trying to find somebody else who's like, my Roku made YouTube
Don't jinx
smaller.
it, Sam. Knock on some wood, fast. He was like, now Skype is gonna do it to spite you.
Mm. But he spent all this time trying to find something, and I couldn't. And eventually I was like, what if I play around with the aspect ratios, even though I'm like, this can't be it, because everything else is normal, but the videos are small. And I had to like set it from 1080 back down to 720, and then that made the videos the right size. But like, I don't know how this suddenly started happening out of nowhere, why nothing else was affected. It looks fine now, but like I know in my heart like it's not 1080p and it's not as good. Like it
Yeah.
looks the same, but my heart knows it's different. It might just be my TV being like a couple generations older than the Roku and its continual quiet background updates.
I don't think that would really affect it.
I don't, it happened out of nowhere. I figured my Roku just like had a growth spurt and outgrew my TV. I'm not a technical
No.
wizard. I don't know how this happens.
Chick.
Eh,
Um
Eventually, whenever I get a raise like I've been dreaming of, I would like to upgrade my technology because I'm like, that TV's old, my laptop is old, and like they're only like 7 something years old, but that's becoming ancient nowadays.
yeah, like 3 years for computers is kind of the the thing now. Like
Yeah,
you've had it for
yeah.
3 years? Damn, get a new one, dude.
Everything wears out. I use everything too much.
Yeah. Um Thankfully computers aren't the same way as phones
Hmm.
to the same extent.
Hmm.
Excuse me. Because phones are the thing, like they want you to get a new one every year, and they will purposely slow your phone down after like 2 or 3 years when the new one has come out. Hoping they can get some more money.
That
Um,
makes sense though, because I had to buy a phone last year after like 2.5 years, like almost three or something, because I wanted to see how long I could just keep the same phone and save money. But when I switched from one phone to a new phone, I'm like, oh, this operating system already looks like completely different. If I would have waited any longer, like
would have been
I would have
lost.
been that much more confused. Yeah, so like the software grows so much. I kind of understand dating the hardware to match the software because then it's just like too big of a generation gap if you do have a phone where the hardware lasts like eight
Well,
years or
it's
something.
yeah. I mean, yeah. It's not even. I don't know if I would describe it as dating the software, but just yeah, like I think Apple like was caught like slowing like
Hmm.
old operating systems down. Like if you didn't update your software hardware, like if you have an iPhone 6 still, that thing is moving slow compared to the the new iPhone XLR 2000,
Megas
whatever the
XLR.
hell, yeah, um, whatever they're on now. Um, Sam was asking if it's a battery thing. It might be kind of related to that. I know battery things do happen. I've had MacBooks just
Battery
like
things do happen.
battery things happen. Write that down.
Marker.
um, but yeah, I've had like MacBooks where the battery just slowly just and
Oh.
just won't work. You have to have it plugged in the entire time. I've had a battery like expand and explode
Ah,
in
that's
my
bad
laptop.
news.
Yeah, that is bad news. Bad news bears. Bad news
Ah,
batteries.
ah.
Um yeah, the MacBook ones used to be user replaceable. I think that's what I did for the first one I had that happened to. And then my second one, a very similar thing happened, but it was the one that I could not replace on my own, which is unfortunate. But I still like Macs a lot better than PCs. I have a PC laptop, and I hate it.
Mhm.
I want to sell it. Um, one
I
day.
worked on Macs briefly in my old job at this office, and I liked that Mac a lot. But I know it was kind of old at that time, so I
Mhm.
don't know if the Mac I got used to is even available anymore. Like if I tried to get a modern Mac operating system, like it would probably look completely alien to me. I think I just need to match whatever I do at work.
I see. I grew up on PCs, and then like we had Macs. Um, we had Macs in elementary school. It was like a, I don't know. I feel like we had a mix. We had a computer lab in elementary school that had a mix of PCs, or
Mhm.
maybe it was we had like 3 or 4 PCs in the classrooms, and then we had like a Mac lab. And then I remember from like 5th grade on, we had a mobile Mac lab. And that's when we got the laptops. It was
Ooh.
fancy.
Yeah.
Um, and then I don't know when, I guess when I went off to college, I bought my first like actual MacBook. I fucking loved it. I was just like, this makes
Mhm.
so much sense to me. Everything works. It's simple and easy. And then I can't get viruses, or not really, you know. And it's
Mhm.
just like it's just so much simpler. And then I bought that that PC laptop I have 2 years ago for Black Friday. I actually got it for free.
Whoa.
Um, yeah, I had an awful customer service experience, and basically had to tell them how to do their jobs. And they eventually just refunded all my money and sent me the laptop still. So I was like,
Ooh.
sweet, works for me. Um, but yeah, I just like, even when I'm not on the internet, like I get more pop-ups offline for just stuff. But
Mhm.
like, buy the Lenovo update, get this calf thing. And I'm just like,
Mhm.
I didn't you guys learn anything from pop-ups on the internet? People hate them. They're the worst. Don't do this. I'm just like, oh my god. And there's like no way. Like I've looked at like, how do I stop these? How do I uninstall them? How do I get rid of these things to stop happening? And it's like, you just have to like not buy a PC. I was like, oh my
Mm.
god, I hate this. I mean, no, Sam, I've updated it, but it's like all of their extra stuff of just like, hey,
Mhm.
you can buy this expansion, you can get this extra thing, you can do that, you can do this, you can do
Yeah,
that. And it's just like,
PCs do come with a
just
lot of
leave me
like,
alone.
oh, we have installed this thing. Are you gonna finish installing it?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know, man. Um, you mentioned a while back, uh, you were hoping for a raise.
Yeah.
How often do you think it's appropriate to ask for raises?
Well, we are hoping for a team-wide raise, and this is the supervisor's idea. She's like, you guys should be getting paid more. We just have to see if we can finagle more money out of the client. So
There you go. Okay.
it's not like I'm raising my hand like me more money, me
Yeah, because
alone.
that something like that, I feel like is super rare.
Hmm.
Of
What a
just like
power
the
move.
boss or the supervisor being like, hey, I'm working on raises for all of you guys.
Hmm.
I don't know if it'll happen, but I'm trying, because
Hmm.
I had to be the one like, hey, it's been a year and a half, you guys haven't given me a raise. uh what's the deal here, guys?
Hmm.
Come on. And they're like, oh shit, sorry. Here you go. um but yeah, so it's such an awkward thing to have to like talk to your boss about just like how to improve things, or hey, I need a raise, or hey, you should hire me up for this other position, or stuff like that. I'm kind of having to do similar
Mhm.
stuff while
Mhm.
we're making all of these. We're transitioning to a new, I guess, application is the right word. Uh, or software application. Let's just use both.
Yeah.
Um, at work, and
Softification.
yeah, I have to make a whole bunch of changes, and it's that thing of like, well, under the old system, my old supervisor just kind of dictated everything I needed to do, and so I just did it without even thinking. But now I'm
Mhm.
with a new team, and they're kind of having me be a lot more independent and autonomous, and they're asking me to make decisions that, as an hourly worker, I shouldn't be making. So I'm like, hey guys, this system is fucked. uh we should really think about how all of this works.
Mhm.
Like, I I shouldn't be making like branding decisions for a university.
Yeah.
uh that's not good.
Mhm.
In fact, like, why aren't it like, when you guys are just like, hey, make this button, why isn't it like, hey, here's the standard? And now I'm realizing why that is, and where we operate is like completely in a gray
Mhm.
area. It's like, oh, I see now that like we've dug into our digital like standards, and
Mhm.
none of them apply to emails, or like, just like, not that there's only like two things that could, and none of them are applicable in the software we're using. So we can't really do that. And then there's so I don't know, it's
Oh.
strange, and I'm having to be like, oh, so I kind of need to make up our own brand standards for all of this. I get it now. That's why you're asking me. And they're like, oh yeah, I guess so. Like, come on, guys. Like,
At
we'll
least
see.
at
Work
least
is
the work you
awkward,
do is like self-contained.
kind of.
Whereas we work for a European client. And so we have to wait for everything to come down from them. And then there's like a time delay because we're on opposite sides of the Atlantic.
Yeah, actually,
And we have
I had
different
to be
holidays.
kind of on a call for, I guess, one of the departments that we work with at the university. They were working with a third party client who I think was in Germany, and I had
Ooh.
to be on a call. Or one of my coworkers slash supervisors had to be on a call
Mhm.
with them, but she didn't know if they were going to ask design related stuff, so she wanted me like right there beside her in case she's like, what do we do about this thing?
Eh,
um because I also don't have a phone at my desk. I usually have no need to talk to
that's
anyone.
kind of nice.
um I mean, I do talk to people, but a lot of like the changes that I need to make are told to me by someone else, if that makes sense. So they're just like, all right, hey, make this change. I'm like, all right, cool. Um, but I just completely lost what I was going to say.
Mhm.
Something about the international stuff, international clients. I had a reason for telling that story. Um, I don't know.
Bet you sure did.
It's been a weird week, man. I
Yeah, it
so
has.
last week I was in that like fog of
Mhm.
caffeine withdrawals, and then with moving this week I've been so exhausted.
Yeah.
I was
It
like, fuck it,
it
caffeine
knocks
again.
you out.
It's so bad. Yeah.
Just like
And
being in an unfamiliar place and you don't know where anything is, and just your daily life takes like an extra hour because you're like, where is that thing?
well, it's really awkward for us too, because you had the whole month. You did the like double rent thing when you
Yeah,
moved, and you
yeah.
had like 2 or 3 weeks to move in. We're kind of in the same position. We're
Mhm.
not paying double rent though. The
Mhm.
person whose house this was is one of my roommate's best friends, and she's moving into a tiny home, like a
Mm.
tiny RV thing, so they can travel and stuff like that. So they were like, yeah, we're leaving mid-January, but we've paid for all of January, so you can start moving in after, and you won't have to pay extra. So that's been nice. But at the same time, like painters were scheduled for our old house while we were still kind of there, and they were showing up at like 8 in the morning every day this past week, and I usually don't wake up till like 11. No, I have to be up earlier than that, but still, it was just like we were expecting like 1 or 2, maybe 3 people to come paint. There were like 8 of them. They're just like a whole like squadron of people walking in the house, So we were doing all sorts of that stuff, and then we get here and we can't really put anything where we want to because there's painters here at the new house and stuff like that. So it's been hectic. It's been hectic for sure. But I went back to drinking caffeine.
You need it, yeah.
I was like, there's no way I'm going to be up at like 7 in the morning to get ready for the painters and go to work and then come home and move all of this stuff and unpack things and lift things, and oh boy.
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
It's still exhausting. I'm still unpacking things now. It's like in The Incredibles when they've been living in that house for a couple of years and Helen's like, I unpacked the last box, Bob. That's exactly what it's like.
That's what my parents have been too. They moved out to Wyoming after they retired because they're from out that way, and I went out to go see them. They've been there for a year and a half, almost 2 years now, and yeah, there's like, yeah, we're still unpacking things, and I'm just like, on one hand I get it, but on the other hand I also don't. I would be like, no, you guys are retired. How do you don't do anything? Like, who knows? Who knows?
Okay. I had a final news item I would like to discuss this week, which you would have seen if you would have checked the captain's log topics. But here it is as a surprise now to you.
Didn't even get to update my end of things.
St. Louis is getting a selfie museum.
Oh God, what is this?
It's going to be this arts space where it is all of these beautiful immersive spaces that are designed for you to go in there and get your picture taken and like take pictures of your friends. Okay. And so it's not like a museum of other people's selfies. It's like a museum, and that it's these beautiful artistic spaces you go into that are designed for you to have your picture taken.
Weird. Okay, I think
and it seems really cool.
Popping up here. Hold on a sec. Internet is being slow. Oh wait.
Because that in the Lost episode of the Captain's Log, I was telling you about that art museum in Tulsa that I went to. Yeah. And this seems a lot like that, and I loved that place. Yeah, it's described as for $30 each, patrons can play around in 3,300 square feet of space designed for taking whimsical photos and stay as long as they like, capturing themselves and their friends under its professional lighting. And unlike many similar concepts nationwide, it won't be a pop-up. They're a permanent location, and they want to be a staple in downtown St. Louis. And it sounds fun.
It sounds fun, but it sounds weird.
Do you prefer, because you're kind of a selfie king yourself, do you prefer to like
I'm not at all. No. Melissa is so upset that I said no. It finally happened, and I think that one is my fault. Melissa, you got smaller.
Oh.
I think it's because my computer is not strong enough.
Your computer's too weak.
You can't handle the truth.
It just feels like every other week or so, there's a new picture of your Instagram of you looking cool with like neat colored lighting.
Now you're back to normal size. Yeah, I trying to do an Instagram thing. I don't take selfies that often. I guess that's me trying to take more, and just have more of a spread out online presence
Mm-hmm.
other than
Mm-hmm.
just Twitter, because I hate Facebook. I
Mm-hmm.
don't really like Instagram all that much either, but just one more thing of like, hey, you can find me here.
Yeah.
Um,
Nice to be found.
but there's a lot of hotels that do a similar thing that to
Ooh.
this museum, not like whimsical locations that you
Mm.
can, like they had the link that you sent me just a second ago that I was looking at had like a picture of some like wacky colored almost 70s style room with a unicorn in it, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, sure, go take a selfie with the statue of a unicorn.
I'd love to.
um but there's also a lot of hotels that you can like, I mean, sure, there's a lot of motels you can rent the room at an hourly rate, but there's a lot of like higher end hotels that like a bunch of like Instagram models and influencers will go, like they'll just spend 3 hours there and like take pictures to be like, yeah, I spent time, like, hey, I'm here in this hotel, this is where I stayed,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't actually stay there.
Hmm.
You know, um, selfie culture is a weird thing.
I I kind of I like this concept for this museum because I wish I had more pictures of myself because I
Uh-huh.
don't do it because I feel like I don't have a good enough reason to. Like,
I just I feel like I'm the millennial. I'm one of the, on the scale of millennials.
okay.
I'm not one of the oldest. I feel like I'm kind of in the middle. So
Uh-huh.
I'm kind of one of the youngest ones that maybe didn't get into the like selfie culture. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like it was like my age and younger that got
Yeah.
into it. Um and yeah, it just never stuck with me. Like I don't take selfies all that often.
I don't do it either, but I admire the people who can
I
and who
admire your
do, and like
bravery.
I wish I could make
Too
myself do it more, but
self-conscious.
it's always like, what are you doing? It's just like a normal bland Tuesday. Like, get your picture taken if it's like, it's my birthday. Don't do it on just a normal weekday. But the people who do it, like, wow, I wish I could just believe in myself that
Like
much.
I actually today I was after work. I was going to get dinner, and I passed by this little like street corner like pop-up shop. Except
Mm-hmm.
they're there all the time. Just like if you've gone to like Washington D.C. or New York, and there's some, or some just big city
Yeah.
where there's just some guy sitting there with like knockoff hats and some
Yeah.
glasses and stuff. And I'm assuming they bought something from them, but there were these two girls that were then like on a brick wall, like 10 or 15 feet, past it, taking pictures like they just bought like a new purse or
Mm-hmm.
something. And it's not odd to see these
Mm-hmm.
days, but it's still just like, huh, good for you. There you go.
Yeah.
Do your
Yeah.
thing.
It's admirable. And I now that this place is going to be here next month, like I'm gonna go. I'm gonna like have an
Yeah.
excuse. Like, here's a completely valid reason. Nobody will think you're vain if you go check out cool new sight to see in the city you love. And the whole point of it is that you will take your own picture there. Like, okay, I have
Be a
justification
rebel
now.
and take pictures of other people.
I will
just
just
act
be
just act like you're taking a selfie, but your camera is facing the other way. Get
I
someone else.
my roommate linked to that article and I'm like, okay, we're gonna do it. And then I immediately turned it around and sent it to my office group chat, like, well, guys, we do need a new
Field
team photo to send
trip.
to the client.
There you go. You can go back multiple times.
Yeah, I'm
Maybe
looking
work
forward to
will
this
pay
thing.
for it. Who knows?
God, it's only the dream. Yeah,
Who
we have
knows?
office picture day coming up just because our team has grown and we need to send the updated picture to the client of this is who the team is. And then they send it to like their clients and like, look, see, there will be a real person working on your projects. We promise they're not robots. Look, here are their faces. These are their little bios that they wrote. They're real. And it's just going to be all of us in front of like a wall at the office, but so much I want us to like go to like even like a Sears portrait studio. I want us to all wear like matching denim jackets and have like our hands on each other's shoulders. I want to
have,
do it up right.
have you heard of this comic called Sex Criminals?
Yes.
So I believe it was a variant cover, but I
Mm-hmm.
know in the trade paperback, in the collected edition, it was also in the back of the book. It was the two creators doing like an awkward family photo,
Yes.
and it
Yes.
was the funniest thing ever. It was so good.
My friend and I met Chip Zdarsky at a Comic-Con a couple years ago, and like
Lucky, he's a national treasure.
she was a super big fan of his, and I just knew him from hearing about it from her. And so she wanted me to take her picture with Chip Zdarsky. And he's like, okay, did you have like a photo pose or anything in mind? And she's like, I don't know. You can come up with something. And he's like, okay. And he has her stand there and he like lovingly cups her face in
Yeah,
his
just like.
hands.
uh.
Ah.
And now for a segment I like to call Sex Tips with Sam. You better watch out. I heard your girl likes grabbing dicks and singing Christmas songs into them. And that concludes Sex Tips with Sam.
What is this?
More next week? Who knows?
I brought the Twitch up, but it's not loading for me. So, like, you're getting things I'm not seeing, and I don't know if there's, like, context I'm missing.
Yeah, the trade paperback does. So another thing with that book, Sex Criminals, is in the back they would always give these sex tips and stuff like that. And it was like the like completely ridiculous one. I think like Cosmo does and
Yeah.
and stuff like that. It's stuff like teasing is a great way to get your partner aroused before sex. Try tying them up, leaving the room, and moving to another city.
I think I've seen some of these before. Isn't there one that says BDSM stands for Bondage, Dominance, Spider-Man?
Yep. Bondage,
Okay.
Dominance, Spider-Man.
Have you started reading the comic for the review show this week yet?
I actually haven't because I've been so
Okay.
busy. So that's what I'm gonna do tonight after this.
There's an opening splash page. It's just like a drawing of two of the main characters, just like in cute outfits. And one of them's wearing a lying cat shirt, and the other one has a shirt that says Brimp on it.
Yes, which is from Sex Criminals.
So, like, I don't know much
Brimping.
about comics, but these references I can recognize.
Brimping. Oh god, now that image is stuck in my head. um, no, but so what they did, because they had a whole bunch of those tips, is they made like a bathroom book
Yeah.
called Just the Tips.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's all of their sex tips
My
in this
friend
small
had this
like
thing.
square pink book. It's fantastic. But yeah, good times, good advice.
Those are the kinds of things I would aspire to own if, like, my mom didn't come over to visit so often.
I mean, it's like that the mustard wreath. You can just do the opposite and hide it when they come over.
I don't know if this is cropped out to where the audience can't see it, but you can see that hanging over my bed I have a sign that just says party.
We can see
that, like, I
part
got
of it,
from
yeah.
like a craft store, and it's meant to hang over like a bar or, you know, in your kitchen or something like that.
Yeah.
But I put it in my bedroom.
It's the party bed.
And my mom, and it's pretty much ironic. Like, oh, all I do is just lay there and like watch
Sleep.
YouTube and like read books about wizards. And my mom was saying the other day, like, I don't like your party girl sign. And I'm like, Mom, it doesn't say party girl. That's completely different.
You're making things up. You're adding words. Um, no, so to last thing I'll say, and then we'll
Okay.
wrap this up.
Yeah.
In high school, I got suspended for graffiti. I think I mentioned that
Covered this. Yes.
on a previous episode, but the vice principal of the school had a really thick Jamaican accent, or somewhere from Trinidad or Tobago, and one of the stickers that I was putting up around the school said "caught you in your sleep," because if you caught someone sleeping, it's like they weren't paying attention, you know. But because of her accent, it sounded like she was saying "cut you" in your sleep, and my parents didn't know how to, like, when they had to come pick me up from the school and like have all of this explained, like what was happening, you know, they didn't know how to parse out her accent and understand it, and so they were just like, it said "cut you" in your what? I was like, no, that's not what it said. I'm not a party girl, I swear. So, yeah. There you go. That's it.
Yep. It's been a full night.
Yeah. Full night. Good episode. This has been episode 36 of the Whatnauts review show. I am getting a really bad interweb signal right now. I think our stream, or maybe my internet, cut out. So I'm going to keep recording this and just end things here. I don't know if Melissa is getting this. I think our internet just crapped out. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed episode 36 of the Captain's Log here at the Whatnauts. It's one of our many podcasts. You can get updates with the show at the Whatnauts on Twitter. And if you would like to follow Melissa, I believe she is at WilkyWit on Twitter and Instagram too, I think. And you can find me at Yo Kyle Springer. I should have the things popping up down there in the corners. That being said, if you guys liked this episode or any of the other podcasts that we do, you can throw us $1 or $2 on Patreon. Patreon.com/the Whatnauts is where you can support us, give us your life savings. If you don't want to save up for retirement, you can give that to us instead. That would be fantastic. So we can have a retirement. That would be amazing. We get one, you don't. Win-win, right? Yeah, good, cool. That being said, this goes up. Let's see. We're recording this on Friday nights. We still haven't nailed down the exact time. I think it is going to be Friday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern soon. Follow our Twitter for updates, but that's the one we're aiming for. It goes up to Patreon early. You can get all our stuff up there, but then it goes up publicly 3 days later. So yeah, thank you guys for listening. We will see you next time. Adios, guys.